are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
host of Locked On Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your first listen every day. And remember, the podcast is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Rays. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays. And you can email us, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Okay, Ulises, we had a little scheduling change for now, which means we will do another player review today. And we have Tyler Glasnow as the focused player.
And what a player review this will be. Of course, we all know what Tyler Glasnow was doing prior to the injury. Let's go over that. He pitched 88 innings to a 2.66 ERA, a 2.77 FIP, a 1.49 ERA plus. He was striking out 123 guys in those 88 innings, a .932 WHIP. He was a 2.6 F4 player. Did you get the B-WAR?
2.3, according to BREF.
What he was doing, Kevin, was unreal.
He was on pace to be a Cy Young consideration type guy.
Once again, because he did the same thing in 2019, just come out of the gate really hot. He became must-watch TV.
Yes.
Every night he was starting a Glasnow start as a Rays fan. He's like, okay, I cannot miss this. And that is such a cool thing to become in 2021 when, it's all the bullpens and the openers and all that stuff, which, granted, it's a good strategy, but it's not, at least for me, it's not as appealing as going to see a workhorse that can do 7 innings each time out there. And I look at his game log and it's unreal. 14 games he started. Do you know how many times he pitched 5 innings or less in those 14 games?
Well, I know he pitched just 4 innings in his final start of the year because he got hurt.
Right.
But I do know that he was one of the very few Rays starters and maybe one of the few starters throughout baseball that was given the leash to go 6, 7, and on occasion 8 innings. So I would imagine a vast majority of his starts were above 5 innings.
You would be correct, Kevin, on your non-answer. In 14 games started, he only pitched 5 innings or less 3 times, including set time when he got injured.
Yeah.
This guy was doing everything that you expect from a workhorse. It was such a great time to see Tyler Glasnow on the bump every time out there.
Yeah, and I love the point that you made about must-watch start, must-watch player, because he does have such a unique profile with the 98, 99, 100-mile-per-hour fastball and then the crazy breaking 12-6 curveball. And to highlight a positive for Glasnow this year, he added and incorporated a slider, a slutter, whatever you want to call it, whatever term you want to call it, a legit third pitch that he used about a third of the time, and that he relatively quickly showed that he had command and control of that pitch. That was, while the curveball is the pitch that you throw in the dirt to get that swing and miss for strike 3, the slider could be an out pitch as well, but he could at least harness it in the zone when need be, particularly down and away. So to see him, we had always talked about, will he develop a legit third pitch? And he was able to do that. He's one of those guys, like athlete at 6'8", 225 pounds. The extension he gets, I don't know what is more fun and more enjoyable to watch. Is it opposing hitters swinging late on a fastball from him up in the zone, or is it a hitter swinging super early on a curveball that most likely will go into the dirt, and
45 feet,
basically,
not even to the
yes.
the dirt of the
where out of the hand, the guy has a split second to make a decision. Like, oh, I guess this could be a fastball in the wheelhouse, but no, it then it just drops quickly and completely.
It's times like these that you just have to laugh at national media when they say something like, "Well, it's just the Rays don't have any stars." Wander Franco, player review done yesterday. Tyler Glasnow, Randy Arozarena. I mean, these guys are just electric. These are stars. These are stars.
Yes.
I believe that you can definitely do some marketing with all of these three guys. But yeah, talking about Tyler Glasnow, he has ace type stuff. And you can only wonder what would have happened if he had been healthy and this team could have really leaned on him in October and not put so much pressure on the young guys. I think you could make the argument that he would have made those younger guys feel a little bit less pressure, a little bit less like, oh, well, I have to be the guy. No, Tyler Glasnow can be the guy who's been in the league for since 2016, basically.
Yeah, it really would have been, I think it could have been a different October for the Rays if Glasnow was healthy and pitching to his potential, because you could have had him in a game 1, and then Shane McClanahan goes out in game 2, and then the Rays could get creative in game 3, maybe game 4, and then you could bring back Tyler Glasnow in a possible game 5 or on short rest in game 4. And we know about his playoff history, how that struggled a little bit, but I think the pitch tipping and some of those areas of concern may have, look, the way he was pitching, I would have expected him to do pretty well in the playoffs if he was able to stay healthy. And, I like how you mentioned how deep that Tyler Glasnow went in all of his starts, or most of his starts. I don't remember his win-loss record or what he was credited for, but I do know that the Rays won 10 of the 14 games that he started in, which is a very impressive marker. And if you look a little bit deeper at the stats, the velocity and spin rate actually slightly improved on his curveball and fastball compared to 2020. He also lowered his walk rate, he lowered his line drive rate, and he increased his ground ball percentage.
When you look also at the maturity aspect of knowing that you can attack with your own stuff, with that powerful stuff, you've got a 98, 100-mile-an-hour fastball, you can attack with that. He has actually increased his first pitch strike percentage each time out there. Every year, that has kept going up and up and up. And now it's at a career high at 62.4%. I believe it was Liam Hendricks who had the highest for relievers at 71%. So that can give you a kind of an idea of how at 62.4%, there's still room for improvement, but he is developing that ace type stuff into more control, knowing your own stuff that you can attack with that fastball. And you talk about that, the slutter, that just gives him a whole more depth into kind of keeping those batters honest and not have to, I'm just going to sit on the fastball. Well, if he can control that slutter in the strike zone, now you got yourself an issue. So he just became a whole deeper pitcher. But I want to highlight the splits.
Okay.
This surprised me. He's actually way better against left-handed hitters, like so much better. 40 innings pitched, only 19 hits allowed, 4 bombs. He's gonna get hit bombs. 8 walks, 54 strikeouts, a .67 WHIP. I mean, he is just devastating. You can talk about maybe that slutter going inside to the lefties, maybe that curveball, knee buckling, at the back foot of lefties, maybe attacking with the fastball up in the zone. He is just lethal against lefties.
Yeah, it's also interesting because usually you would think if he was that good against lefties, he would have a great changeup. Yeah. But he doesn't. He has a changeup, but it's not very good or very developed. It just is essentially a slow fastball, a slow straight fastball at 91, 92, or 90 miles per hour. And that's something that, who knows, maybe going forward, we know about his work ethic and how meticulous he is about his craft, that maybe he says, at some point following his rehab and recovery, and when he gets back, that'll be, okay, I've mastered that third pitch. Can I go after this fourth pitch? And he might not even need it, quite frankly, but
Right.
it might just be another little side project for him going forward. BetOnline is back and better than ever before. A new web interface for the start of the basketball season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the basketball and football action this season. Be sure to head over to their new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, to receive that bonus. BetOnline, it is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports, and it is where the game starts. Okay, Ulises, looking at what went wrong with Tyler Glasnow, I think it's relatively obvious and clear. Health.
Once again, too.
Yeah.
It's the type of tradition that you hate. I don't know if you have a tradition in your family that you're like, oh my God, not this again. As a Rays fan, now it's becoming, oh man, Tyler Glasnow is hurt once again.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks. And you know who it sucks most of all? For him. He wants to be out there. He is the biggest competitor, maybe on this team. I mean, you see him like throwing, apparently like he's like a chair chucker when things are going wrong. I think Brett Phillips has mentioned that when he gets a hit, allows a hit in between innings, he just goes berserk. I mean, this guy is a competitor. So to be completely out of commission for not only half of a season where the team goes to win 100 games, a franchise best, and then now knowing, well, I'm going to try to rehab and all that, I'm going to come back. Nope, I can't come back.
Yeah.
Now I have to be on the shelf for a whole 2022. I mean, that is just bad news bears, man.
It's a problem. We have to acknowledge that he has never thrown more than 110, 111 innings in a big league regular season. And we remember what happened in 2019, 2020 wasn't his fault. Couldn't do anything about that with the pandemic. But even before that, he's had some issues pop up now and again. And I look at it, at some point, the question has to be asked is, and you actually brought this up not too long ago about, I wonder if there's going to be a point in time where he is shifted to a reliever, bullpen guy, or a closer, where you taper back his innings and see if that salvages things a little bit. Because and you hope that his surgery and recovery, it gets him on the right track, in the right plane. But you never know with pitchers sometimes. Sometimes you are a guy like Rich Hill who can come out and throw 158 innings this season at 41 years old. And sometimes you're one of the more athletically gifted players in baseball, if not all of sports. And the arm can be tricky. So that should be a concern going forward, especially with how hard he throws and the type of spin that he generates. And I wonder, how much of him going away from the sunscreen and the rosin, if that played a role into his injury, or he was
100%.
using that. Okay. So that's
100%. Like, just grab this stress ball and you see all of the muscles that tense up. I mean, it's even way worse when you're throwing a baseball and you're chucking it at 99 miles an hour. And then you're told, no, you have to even grip it even harder.
Right.
Because you don't have that sunscreen, all that stuff. So, I think it definitely became an issue. It might have even kind of accelerated what was going in with that injury in his arm. But it's a shame because he is just so good. When you talk about, he throws so hard, that's how he gets, into trouble because of the velocity that he has in his arsenal. He doesn't get hard hits it's going to create, talk about the home runs. He, I think, allowed 10 home runs in 88 innings. So you know that he's going to give up hard contact. He was in the 30th percentile in barrel rate. Hard hit percentage, 4th percentile.
Yeah.
Exit velocity, 3rd percentile. So what I know, it doesn't happen that often, but when he does get hit, it's not going to be the Yarbrough softies, the Fleming softies bloopers. It's going to be damage.
Yeah, you could have a guy just stick the bat out and bunt, and if Glasnow throws a 99 fastball, it might go to the outfield.
Yeah,
if it goes off the barrel, and it's literally Glasnow providing the power for the most part for the other hitter. Now, a lot of his home runs, I think, or several of them, were on the slutter earlier on in the season, where I still think he was maybe trying to find the feel for that pitch, and he left some hangers. So I think that was part of it. The other thing is maybe some guys just early in counts, they're just waiting for that first pitch fastball and trying to capitalize on that, because once Glasnow gets that first pitch strike, then is he going to give me another fastball? Is it going to be a curveball? Is it going to be a slider? And even if I know what it is, can I hit it? That's the other part of the equation too. So, but outside of that, it's really the injury thing. I think that's the big thing going forward, because you look at it, and already this year, Shane McClanahan has thrown more innings in his rookie year than Glasnow has ever done in any one season.
It's an issue. It's an issue. But what can you do? I mean, these are things that you can't help avoid. They just happen. Like you said, Rich Hill can throw 150 innings as a 41-year-old, but the most athletic guy maybe on this team gets hurt. So you can't really do much about that. I want to go back to that slutter, though. Because you're saying that he might have gotten hit early in the year with that, and I do agree with that. But can he use it to get the righties out a little bit better by putting it in the strike zone faster? If he can, if he's getting bombarded with first pitch swings, and that's how he's getting hurt with the fastball, because he's pitching. Let's all put it all the whole big picture together. He's pitching with more strikes, starting the at bats with more strikes. So that probably means that he's using that fastball more often in an 0-0 count. So the home runs are coming because they know this is the pitch I gotta get hit. So can he utilize that slutter in a better way against righties so that he can start the at bat with that slutter, get hitters even more off base, and then that he can improve those numbers. So I think that the key here, besides the not getting injured part, how can he utilize that slutter a little bit better? And another thing I saw, he gets a little bit out of shape with 2 outs. It's the weirdest thing. With 2 outs, the walks increase, the strikeouts decrease. I don't know if it's a mentality thing of like, I got the 2 outs, I'm almost done. It's like, no, you got to get the 3.
Yeah. Or it could be a fatigue thing too, if depending on how many pitches he's thrown in that inning already.
How much effort he's going after every pitch.
Yeah.
So those are things that I think, we'll have to look forward in 2023.
Yeah. Or very, very late 2022, but most likely 2023. That's a good point about the slider, slutter, whatever we want to call the thing, is because I think he's more likely to consistently throw that in the zone or just outside the zone to induce a swing and a miss, as opposed to the curveball as pitching backwards, first pitch, whatever it may be. Okay, Ulises, the big question: Tyler Glasnow's future with the team. This is one of the players that is very much in the air, his future with the Rays. I'm still waffling back and forth on whether he's going to continue to be in a Rays uniform or not, with the salary considerations, with the injury considerations. And I'll just put it on the table right here.
Okay.
I think it's going to be one or the other. Tyler Glasnow or Kevin Kiermaier will be on the roster in 22. I don't see both of them on the roster or within the organization, I should say.
Can I put you in the hot seat here?
Sure.
When you say that one cannot live while the other survives, Harry Potter thing, if it's one or the other guy, let's say KK gets traded and Glasnow remains. Are you saying that he just went to ARB and he's just got his $6 million to sit on the shelf for a whole year? Or are you saying no, KK leaves,
Yeah.
Glasnow stays, but with a multi-year extension?
I don't know about a multi-year extension, but I think the Rays would essentially pay him $12 million total for 1 year of production in 2023.
$6 million, 2022,
Yes,
2023.
because I think the idea is by 2023, think about who knows what's going to happen until that time. But if you just look at the progression of the Shanes, Rasmussen, Patino, the other guys, and then you add Glasnow back into the fold, and Wander Franco is going to be a couple years older. Some of these other guys are going to be a couple years older. That might be, this is our chance. That could be, if that could be our World Series year.
I 100% agree with you. The 2023 year of him coming back, which, by the way, how much are you willing to bet on Tyler Glasnow innings-wise? Yeah, he can go into pitch 7-8 innings. So do you want to throw that guy into a reliever? I know I like that idea maybe for 2022 if he comes back in September, but do you want to risk a guy who can give you 7 innings and turn him into a reliever? But is he actually going to give you 7 innings in 2023? I don't think so.
Right.
I think he's going to be babied, which coming out of this procedure, he probably should be babied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's one of those things that even if he is babied, he would still, assuming he returns to form or is as good of a pitcher as he's been, that he is still a very, very valuable asset. And I look at it this way: if it's one or the other with Glasnow and Kevin Kiermaier, I think that Glasnow's value is probably at its lowest right now, and Kiermaier's value is probably at its highest.
Yeah,
or as high as it's going to be, because every day that KK gets older and gets into the season, he had one of his best seasons of his career
with the
year.
stick too.
Yeah, so this would be the time to cast him off. And I think, like, if we're looking at free agency and some of the available guys out there, I think really the only, I guess, big name, if you can even call him a center fielder, is Mark Canha. That's the competition for a center field guy.
Yeah.
So I think that the Rays might lean towards keeping Glasnow and paying him. I mean, they've paid guys about as much or gotten less production from guys and still paid them millions upon millions of dollars.
I know this is going to sound rude, so I maybe I shouldn't.
Are you making a Chris Archer joke? Are you making a Yoshi Tsutsugo joke? Are you making a Pat Burrell joke?
I mean, if you're willing to pay for 19 innings of, I know they didn't know it was going to be 19 innings,
but you had to know that. Look at his history. Look at how bad he was. Look at his age. Look at what he's coming off of.
Pay that guy $6.5 million in Archer, and you're not going to pay $6 million to a guy. Yeah, he's not going to be sitting in 2022, but you retain him and you see what happens in 2023. Which, by the way, with Wander, I love what you're saying there.
Yeah.
With Wander 1 more year older, the pitching staff, Rasmussen, Patino, the Shanes. I mean, 2023, hold on to your damn butts.
Seriously.
It's going to be a really good season, 2023. I know 2022, hopefully too, but I like it. I like your idea. Keep Glasnow. I like it. I'd rather keep him than get, the prospects that you would
again, his value is low right now. I would think of, now you're going to pass off the rehab and all the work that it takes to get him on the right path to another team.
No,
I feel like you're not going to get a great prospect haul for that.
It's still going to be good, but not the best ever. So, why would the Rays do this? I know that they're cheap, but do it.
And also, the Rays have a bevy of outfielders, and they've got position player prospects that they need to find a spot for. So I feel like by canceling out KK's salary, you're essentially paying for Glasnow over the next 2 years.
And I think that would be 100% okay.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's get that red Sharpie out. This is an interesting one. Grade for Tyler Glasnow this season.
How do you grade somebody negatively when all they did was show up day in and day out and pitch to the hardest effort? How do you knock off somebody with something that they didn't want to happen? They didn't
is part of the equation.
Fortunately.
Yeah.
So the performance was ace level stuff.
Yes.
I mean, I had him at a 97 before the injury. Wander Franco level. I think I have to knock him down to just below Randy Arozarena. I had Randy Arozarena at 93. I'm giving Tyler Glasnow a 92.
Okay. I'm not giving Glasnow an A, but I'll give him a B plus.
Okay. What,
Because
88?
Yeah, 88, just for the amount of innings that he pitched.
You know what? 88 I'm 92. So an A minus 90 average.
Thereabouts, yeah. And because I do think it's unfortunate that he got hurt, and you have to wonder if the MLB crackdown on substances, which, like, it's crazy to think that using a little bit of sunscreen is the end of the world compared to what Garrett Cole and some other people are using. Let's just introduce a pre-tacked ball like Japan uses, and let's fix this issue once and for all. But in those 88 innings, he was so good, and he helped the team bank so many wins through the first couple months of the season. So I think that should absolutely be valued. I mean, he pitched more innings than Colin McHugh, right? More innings than Andrew Kittredge, more innings than, and I know it's different starter reliever, but he contributed in the innings he pitched. They were very impressive and important innings.
He made the team better, man.
Yeah.
And that's what you want from a guy that's at the top of the rotation. One more stat that I didn't get to, my favorite one. Left on base percentage, the strand rate of those base runners, 82.4%. Beautiful, beautiful stuff there. So you get to strand that many runners. That's the kind of guy. I really hope that you're right, Kevin, and that they do pay him the $6 million. He stays, because I want to see 2023. And the most beautiful thing I think about this is that if they keep him for 2022 on the shelf, then 2023 is a foregone conclusion. Right. They're basically saying, by keeping him 2022, no, we're waiting for 20. We're not just going to do the whole rehab and then send him off.
Right. That makes no sense whatsoever.
So then, exactly, this would just be a perfect thing to not even have to worry about until 2023.
2023, how many innings do you think he fires?
I think around this many. 88, 100. I think, 100 innings, I think, would be just perfect.
You bring that up. I would almost, I don't know. I wonder if it is the last year that Glasnow is throwing for the Rays, and not to say this is unfortunate or it's not right, but maybe it's like, hey, we're going to lose him anyway. Let's roll him out as much and as often as we can. Not saying you want to damage him, but it's an asset that you've got him for this year only, most likely, before he hits free agency.
Go out, go nuts.
Give him as many opportunities and starts and leave him out for as long as you might see fit. Now, of course, that brings up the question of, you don't just want to run him into the ground before the season is over and then you get screwed in the playoffs again. But
maybe be September, you start like, okay, no,
be more liberal with his usage
the whole year. Yeah, maybe even more than if it was a Patino or Rasmussen
exactly.
in the same position. I don't dislike that idea, and also let's remember that would be his walk year. Like he becomes a free agent. So if you do that and then you give him a qualifying offer and he doesn't,
right,
then you get a draft pick.
And you know what? Glasnow probably does want to pitch as much as he can in 2023 so he can increase his value in free agency.
Yeah.
It's better to see a guy that threw 150, 160 innings instead of
I don't 90. Think it would be that much.
Not saying it's going to be that much, but I mean, if you add the playoffs, maybe then it gets into all of that, because that is a big consideration on health of a pitcher, on whether a guy is going to get a 1-year prove-it deal, a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year. It'll be really interesting to see what guys like Noah Syndergaard gets this offseason and some guys like that, because it might, depending on how Glasnow does in 2023, he might not get the offer he likes in free agency.
I don't think he will. Honestly, I think he's looking at a Cobb deal.
Possibly.
The 4-year, $50 million, something like that, 4-year, $60.
Which honestly, the rate would be in play if that's what you're
100%.
That is very.
That's gettable, man.
I agree.
They're not even at $70 million right now in the payroll.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's
and they know him
100%.
better than most as far as how to utilize and deploy him. I mean, he's had a lot more success here than with Pittsburgh and maybe
And
another
he likes
organization.
it here.
Yeah.
And he wants to win here. Honestly, this is the kind of guy that you want to give him the ball in game 1 and in game 7 of the playoffs.
Yeah.
He deserves that chance. So I really, really hope that they give him the arbitration in 2022. Then it's a foregone conclusion that he'll be with the team in 2023. And then that's the guy.
Yeah.
Game 1, Tyler Glasnow. Game 7, Tyler Glasnow.
Hot take: if Glasnow is no longer on the Rays in 2024 and beyond, he's going to LA. He's going to either the Angels or the Dodgers.
The Dodgers, yeah.
He's going back to Cali.
Yeah,
I could see it
that.
happen.
100%, I can see that.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know who he would explode if he was in the Dodgers. He would just be on every magazine ever.
Yes, absolutely. All right, that's Tyler Glasnow for you. Thank you again for making the Locked On Rays podcast your first listen every day. Now make your second listen the Locked On Bets podcast. Tomorrow will be Friday, which means we'll have a mailbag episode and some baseball trivia as well. Stay tuned for that. Have a great day, everybody.
Happy Veterans Day, people.
Yes, happy Veterans Day. Thank you to all of those who have served and are currently serving as well. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah,
Ulises, we
know we
appreciate
have listeners. So
yes,
thank you so much for everybody. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And we will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.